So first scenario, let's say that we buy a property today for 240,000. I chose 240,000 because that's an average purchase price for a JWB property. And let's assume that over the next year, interest rates drop 1%. And because of these interest rate drops, home prices either increase 2.5% or 5.3% or 8.9%. Why did I choose those numbers, Pablo?
Because those were the numbers that we just saw on the last chart about averaged out there.
Yeah, exactly. 2.5% was the lowest that home prices have appreciated in Jacksonville the following year after a 1% decrease of interest rates. 5.3% was the average increase of home price appreciation the following year, taking out the Great Recession. And then 8.9 was the top level home price
2001.
appreciation in 2001.
Yep.
Exactly.
Got it. So I see what you came up here, GC. So if prices went up by 2.5% over the next year, that means that for this $240,000 home, you see home price appreciation, you see your net worth grow by $6,000.
Mhm.
You minus the refinancing costs of $3,600. Is that refinancing to go down to like 1% down? Okay.
Well, yeah, whatever the lower interest rate is, so that in essence, that 1% drop, that
Mhm.
would be the cost for you to refinance your loan to get now down to that lower interest rate.
Got it. So then your net profit would be $2,400 for having acted now.
Mhm.
Seems like a good deal.
Yeah. If you believe that home prices are going to go up from one year to the next, even if they only go up 2.5%, then this would show you that you would still earn $2,400 in profits, even if you had to spend some money to refinance down the line.
Okay, sounds good. So now let's talk about, hey man, interest rates just dropped. The historical average appreciation rate in Jacksonville is generally 4.6%. So if interest rates drop, we can reasonably believe or have a hypothesis that prices would go up 5.3%, not too much more, just a little bit of extra juice because the interest rates dropped. And that would mean your home price appreciates by $12,000, 720. Same refinance cost minus 3,600. Your net profits earned, your net worth extra that you have by acting now instead of waiting is $9,120.
Absolutely. And I'll just give a little bit more clarity on the historical home price appreciation rate. It used to be 4.6, but that was before a whole lot of appreciation over the last few years. So the average historical home price appreciation rate for Jacksonville each year is 5%.
Okay.
It's 5%. So, 5.3% is even more believable. And those average years of home price appreciation, very few of them came after interest rates dropped 1% the year before. So yeah, so you're pocketing an extra $9,000 by taking action now before interest rates drop. And then, obviously refinancing later to then put yourself into that same spot as anybody else a year later when interest rates are lower than what they are today.
Got it. All right. So that's pretty good. An extra just under $10,000 just because you did it today instead of waiting, right? The whole buy real estate and wait instead of wait to buy. Now, let's say we have a scenario like 2001 and interest rates drop by a point, prices go up 8.9%. Now, the home price appreciation that you'd get over the next year is $21,360 minus same refinancing cost of $3,600. Now you just added $17,760 to your net worth just by acting today instead of waiting to refinance later.
Bingo.
That's pretty sweet, man. That's a Honda Civic for my kid.
There you go.
Right.
There you go.
Vincent Barberite says, how much down are JWB lenders requiring on the 30-year fixed right now?
It's not really a matter of requirement. To answer the question directly, the minimum required would be 20% down. But a lot of our JWB clients are putting more than that down, and simply because in order to get positive cash flow, you need to put more than 20% down. You'll need to be somewhere around 35 to maybe 40% down. And that's how we continue to generate positive cash flow, even though interest rates are higher than they used to be back in the day. And even though prices are higher than they used to be back in the day, we just solve that problem by putting a higher percentage down.
Okay, got it. So moral of the story here is if we believe that interest rates are going to drop by 1%, buying today adds, if you think home price appreciation is going to go 2.5%, it adds 2,400 extra net worth to your bottom line. If you think it's going to go right around the historical home price appreciation plus a little bit of bump, it's almost $10,000, 9,120. And if you think it's going to go anywhere close to what it did in 2001, then it is $17,760. But GC, there is the other side of the coin, which is, okay, cool. So this is what I would be locking in right now. what does it look like if I wait to buy? Is it only that I would lose out on this net worth, or is there other stuff? What do you say to that?
There's a whole lot of other stuff too.
Oh, okay.
And I wanted to make sure we shed light on what would be the alternative. How much would you be giving up? Because it's actually more than what I just shared with you there when we start to think about all of the profit centers.
Oh,
So let's do this next scenario here. And let's assume that you waited a year to buy the property. Interest rates dropped, just like we said, 1%. Home prices went up by these three categories, that either 2.5%, 5.3%, or 8.9%. But let's look across all of the profit centers to really see what you're giving up, because it's even more than those staggering numbers that we were just talking about.
got it. As we know, there's 5 profit centers in rental property investing. There's only 4 here that we're talking about, right? We're talking about cash flow, aka rental income, tax savings, principal pay down, and home price appreciation. So now if you add those, right, like if you add those to that same list, when prices go up by 2.5%, you're also missing out on getting $1,274 in rental income. You're missing out on $1,094 in tax savings. You're missing out on $1,852 in principal pay down and the home price appreciation that we just talked about, which brings us above $10,000. If it goes up 5.3%, which is historical, average plus a little bit of juice, now you're going from having missed out on roughly 9,000 to actually more stuff here, right? Like you lose rental income of the 1,200 again. The same, I guess the tax savings, rental income, and principal pay down all stay constant. Why is there extra home price appreciation loss here? Or is there?
Well, it's because the home price is appreciated at 5.3% versus the home price is appreciated at 2.5%.
Got it. So you lose a home price appreciation of $12,000. You essentially losing net profits of $16,000. And again, if it goes up 8.9%, you're losing out on net profits of $25,000. So now we're not talking about a Honda Civic. We're talking about maybe like a Vida, like a Jetta.
There you go. I mean, sure.
A really nice,
not much of a car person,
like an Accord.
That all sounds great. It all sounds great to me.
Really good safety ratings.
I'm thinking about like 4 trips to Bandon to play golf. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. 20. I mean, listen, man, $25,000 is like that is you can put that into private lending. You can do a lot of stuff with that money.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
So what do you want to take away here, GC?
Well, so we talk about, is it better to buy or is it better to wait? We can take this from another angle, right? Like if there are some who believe that home price affordability is such a challenge right now, and there are some who believe that home prices are going to go down. And listen, nobody has a crystal ball. We've been right most times on this show. We clearly believe that interest rates going down will lead to home price appreciation, and especially Jacksonville. There's other things that are going to lead to home price appreciation at some point over the next few years. But you could say to yourself, let's just say that you think the opposite. Home prices would have to go down so significantly in order for this to make sense to wait, right? Or home prices would have to appreciate so much less than historically what has happened after interest rates go down for it to make sense. I mean, for it to make sense to wait. You're starting to get into like, you would have to get into kind of like Great Recession type of events in order from a numbers perspective for you to come out ahead of waiting. Right. And I don't know, there were a lot of people who felt like the Great Recession was going to happen again, a year and a half ago. We at the show said we did not see that happening. We did not see the crash happening. It's turned out that way, meaning that home prices have actually gone up in Jacksonville year over year. I don't hear anybody talking about how the Great Recession is coming now. So it would, from a dollars and cents perspective, if you are thinking about buying your next property from a dollars and cents perspective, it is a much better bet to take advantage of buying now before interest rates continue to go down so that you can set yourself up with a new Jetta or Civic
or Accord,
or you can pay for, half a year of college for your kids or, all those things that are a whole lot more important. I mean, we're talking about $10,000 to $25,000 that you can set yourself up for by making a good decision today versus sitting on the sideline. So so there's a whole population out there that's just waiting for the right time. I think this is a very special moment and why this is the right time, especially because interest rates are such a big driver of what home prices do.
Yeah, I see this show as the ultimate proof of why the average investor might think to wait for the right time to buy real estate, and then not your average investor understands this old adage of no, you buy real estate and wait. And even though we say this as a blank statement, as a motto, and we believe it overall, because over a long market cycle, over a full market cycle, that's always going to hold true. If we look at the moment right now, the only reason why you would wait would be if you think prices are going to go down.
Mhm.
And what we've seen over the last year is that interest rates threw everything they could. They threw the kitchen sink at home prices, and home prices have stayed level / gone up a little bit.
Mhm.
And now what we are seeing is interest rates are starting to come down, and there's all this data that shows that they're going to continue to go down, which there's all this data to show that prices are going to go up. So, this moment of like, is this the right time? Is it not? Should I wait for this thing? It seems like a resounding no, with a very, very safe, like level of assumptions that you're going to come out ahead somewhere between, $10,000 to $25,000 in net worth in year one of this investment by pulling the trigger right now and getting ahead and locking this in. And that's notwithstanding the idea that Jacksonville downtown is happening, that Jacksonville itself has really, really good metrics of like population growth and rental demand and housing demand and a ridiculous dearth of supply in this asset class of workforce housing.
Absolutely.